topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, Texas. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. I'm your host, Steve-O. We have incredible shows for you today. Our first show, our first expert, is a subject that we get more people asking about. It's public insurance adjusting. Now, many of our viewers are homeowners, maybe condo, they're business owners. And look, you never know when an emergency is going to happen. And because we got so many letters from you saying, how come you don't do a show that helps people that are having a problem with their claims against the homeowner insurance? They love getting your money, but they don't like paying out. Well, we found one of the top public insurance adjusters in the state of Texas. You're going to learn how these people can help you. And I even have a story myself. Let me bring on our expert. He's the president of Infinity Public Adjusting, Ellie Heft. Good afternoon, Ellie. There he is. Can you hear us? I hope he's not on mute. I bet that's the reason. I bet you he's on mute right now. Well, we're here. We see him. Let me just move on because I'm sure he's going to figure it out that he's got his mute on. Juan, can he hear me if he's got his mute on?
Can you hear me? Steve, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we hear you.
Okay.
Ellie?
Yeah, when I hit the unmute button originally, and now it's happening again, there's a lot of background noise from the radio show. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't. Juan, I'm sure Juan can tell us. He's getting background, I guess, from a radio show. Is it still doing it?
I think it's okay now.
Okay.
Now there it is again.
He says, do you have the show playing in the background?
Yeah. It says the topic.
I would, yeah, I don't think you want to.
Expressed in the show and
see, we do a live show here, and this is what happens when you have a live show. You never know with all the technicalities that go on, what can happen, but it's much better doing a live show than a pre-recorded show. Ellie, can you hear me? Ellie? Maybe he's going to come back in. But anyway, we're going to be talking about public insurance adjusting today. And, especially down in the Houston area with all the storms that you have down there, it is. And then it's time when you've got damages, whether it's water damage, roof damage. and you file your claim, and the insurance company gives you some lowball claim. And they're very good at what they do. Some people think they have to accept the amount they offer them. And what's so amazing is a public adjuster will come on and tell you what your claim is really worth. And they battle the insurance companies. And while we're waiting for Ellie to come on, I had a problem. It was about 10 years ago. I had a flood in my house and it ruined the tile. And so they made me an offer of $6,000. And I kept fighting with them, actually with no experience behind me. I just didn't think the amount was right or fair. And a friend of mine said, you need a public insurance adjuster. I had no idea what a public insurance adjuster was. So what we did, he gave me the name. I just got a note from him. Let's see if he's coming back on. Ellie?
Yeah,
Ellie?
I'm here. Let's see if it works this time. Can you hear me?
We hear you fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, now there's no background noise. Thank God. That was a little bit hard to concentrate.
Are you using Chrome or Firefox?
Yeah, I'm on Chrome.
Okay, good. Okay. So I was just telling him a story how I owed the insurance company. He said on a claim I had was for $6,000, and a friend of mine talked me into hiring a public claims adjuster. I had no idea what that was. They came in and got me $87,000. I mean, we went from $6,000 to $87,000. And this is why it's so important that you have a public claims adjuster. Ellie, tell people about your company.
So my company, Infinity Public Adjusting, represents policyholders. Could be a homeowner, a business owner, a boat owner, anyone with a policy of insurance that covers them against their perils, which would be a hurricane, water damage, mold, fire, lightning, hail, vandalism. And I represent them. I'm licensed and bonded in multiple states. There's 37 states that recognize my license, and I negotiate on behalf of the policyholder to maximize the value of their settlement. So basically, I'm like a pro bono attorney, like a hybrid between an accountant and a pro bono attorney, where we do an accounting of all the claim expenses that the policyholder might have incurred. And then we write a rebuild estimate for any damages to their property, add it all together, and then prepare an estimate, a photo report, and a sworn statement and proof of loss form that then the policyholder will sign in front of a public notary. And that's basically the legal document stating what the maximum amount that we're claiming for that loss. And it also states the total amount of insurance that they had at the time of the loss. We submit that to the carrier, and then the pressure shifts to the insurance company to make a coverage determination, because essentially an insurance policy is a contract, right? So there's certain obligations that the carrier has to adhere to when there's a filed claim, and then there's certain obligations that the policyholder has to perform. So I make sure that my client is in compliance with all of their requirements, and then the pressure shifts to the insurance carrier to make a coverage determination, or if they've already opened up coverage, to resolve the dispute between what they've already paid and what my office's estimate is. So I cannot accept a settlement without my client's pre-authorization and approval. Essentially, I do all the bird dogging back and forth, and then the client quarterbacks whether or not they're happy with the settlement.
Ellie, I was telling everybody what happened with me, and people, I kind of left the story off where they offered me $6,000, and a public adjuster came in and got me $87,000. And one of the reasons why was They just wanted to replace the damaged tile. And the adjuster came in. I would have never thought of this and said, no, first of all, that tile doesn't even exist anymore. And second of all, they have to replace the entire tile. And I learned then how important a public adjuster is. Now, there's been a lot of bad weather, especially in the Houston area. And that's why we wanted to make sure that we got Ellie on right away. When is the best time to call you up?
That's a great question, Steve. So the best time to call is as soon as you notice the damage. And that's calling me, not calling your carrier, because anytime you call the carrier, whether they tell you that they're filing a claim on your behalf or not, they make a note of it and they use it as a mark against you. The person you should call is a public adjuster like myself, to come out and assess the damage, and see if it would be covered under the terms of your policy. I offer free consultations. I can't answer for any other public adjusting companies, but my firm offers free consultations, which includes a free policy evaluation as well as a free on-site damage inspection. And then we assess whether or not it would be in your best interest to go ahead and file a claim. We look at your deductible, we look at your coverages, your exclusions, and then give you consultative advice on whether or not it would be a viable claim, and give you like a rough estimate of what we think the value of that claim would be.
Why should a person, I could answer it, but I'm going to let you answer this. Why would a person get a public adjuster instead of an attorney?
Oh, that's a great question. So, I mean, in the state of Texas, public adjusters charge 10%. Attorneys charge up to 40%. So right there's a 30% difference. Yeah. Also, when you go with litigation, that process moves at a snail's pace, right? Because there's certain hearings and the courts are backed up and there's motions for summary judgment, all these procedural things that have to take place before you get to the point where it would be before a judge or a jury or someone to make a decision. And 99.9% of the time, none of these claims go to trial. They all settle before trial. Because honestly, the other reason why it wouldn't make sense necessarily to go with an attorney is because an attorney is not necessarily an expert in construction or reading or writing estimates. If there's a dispute, let's say the insurance company opens up coverage and the only reason that you would sue is to resolve that dispute, you don't need an attorney. You need an expert, a general contractor, a roofer, a public adjuster. You don't need an attorney. That's someone who went to law school. They have no idea about, underlayment and sheathing underneath roofing and how many, layers of paint would be required to bring your home to the pre-loss condition. So there are some instances where we do have to hit them with the legal hammer and literally squeeze the money out of the insurance company. But that's always a last ditch resort. That's always the last trump card, if you will. There are many other methodologies in place that if, let's say, I can't settle the claim directly with the adjuster at the desk level, if they have opened up coverage, there's alternative dispute resolution or ADR, such as mediation, arbitration, appraisal. And those are great ways to settle a claim in lieu of litigation without involving an attorney and slowing up the process.
Well, I know from the story I was telling everybody, I actually tried to do this myself until I found out that I was completely out of my league. But tell people, what does a public adjuster do that a person cannot just do themselves?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just like anything else in life. If you have a broken leg, God forbid, and you're not a surgeon, are you going to perform surgery on your own leg? I mean, I guess you could do that, but the results might not come out the way as if you employed a professional doctor. So it's the same thing if your home has a broken leg, right? You want to employ a professional who's licensed and is bonded and does this all day, every day for a living, to bring the home to the pre-loss condition. That's the whole concept of indemnification. That's what insurance policies are there for, to restore the home to the pre-loss condition. So, there's Texas statutes in place to protect homeowners and business owners in the event of a loss, that the insurance company can't cut corners. For example, let's say you have continuous paint throughout your home. It's all one color and one wall gets damaged. Well, they can't pay just to repaint that one wall, because if the rest of your home is 8 years old, the paint, and then you paint that one wall brand new, even if it's the same exact color, it's not going to look uniform throughout, right? Because the rest of your house is going to have 8-year-old paint. This one's going to be brand new. And the pre-loss condition, the paint was consistent. It was all one color. It was all matching throughout. So that's what I mean about restoring it to the pre-loss condition. If it was consistent and it looked as one uniform color before the loss occurred, then the insurance company is required by law to restore it to that same condition after the loss. So they would have to pay to paint all the walls, even the ones that aren't damaged, so that it looks consistent throughout.
I mean, you know what? If you just use some common sense and you're trying to do this yourself, you're talking to the insurance company. They know you probably don't know much about, this construction business. But if they know that you have a public insurance adjuster, I think that alone is going to know that a person like yourself, Ellie, knows just as much as they do.
Yeah. I mean, in life, you need to hire professionals, especially when it's something that's a major job, such as a construction project. There's a lot of moving parts. So doing it yourself, a lot of times, you kind of learn the hard way that you're not going to get the results that you're looking for.
What if a person's already started their claim with the insurance company? It's not too late to hire you, is it?
No, it's definitely not too late. I can reopen previously opened claims that were either underpaid or denied, or let's say you got an undisputed check. That's the first payment. They call it the undisputed amount. And let's say you got $2,700 in the mail, but you have a hole in your roof and water penetrated through that hole, and you've got water damage throughout your entire house, and now that water is leading to mold. $2,700 is not going to do the job, right? That's not going to fix all the necessary damages to your home. So I can come in, and then my fee would only apply to what I get you additionally. That $2,700 is yours free and clear. Then any new funds that I would get the client, I would get 10 cents on the dollar, and they would keep 90% of it, obviously. But I make sure that the client has enough money to do the repairs even after paying my 10%. So what we do, I tell clients, numbers don't lie, insurance companies do lie, unfortunately. And so I write an estimate that's very aggressive because obviously we know the insurance company's business model is delay, deny, defend. As a matter of fact, there's a book entitled as such, and you guys can look that up, purchase it on Amazon for about $5 and educate yourselves on how insurance companies save money, and they actually reinvest your premium that you're paying every month into very, very hyper secure, low risk investments. And they're making money on your money, similar to how banks reinvest your money when it's in a bank account. So the time value of that money is even more value than the actual dollar value itself. The insurance carrier would rather pay interest a lot of times and delay than pay the money right away, because they're making more profit even after paying the interest, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So, when I come in, I make sure that we have a real world number, which is the general contractor's number. We add on my 10%, and then that arms me with the knowledge when I go into the negotiating arena with the carrier of what the bare bones minimum is that would make the homeowner whole without having to dip into their own pocket. And so, like I said, I use math. I'm a numbers guy. Numbers don't lie. We have the roof estimate. We have the general contractor's estimate. We have the flooring estimate. Whatever elements of the repair process need to be executed to bring the home to the pre-loss condition. We add on my 10%. And then I know, hey, that's the bare bones minimum. If the insurance carrier is not going to play ball, then, we can resort to those alternative dispute resolutions or other ways to try and get the file settled. But I'm not going to, I'm required by law to present all offers to the client. Just like if you hire a realtor and you get a lowball offer on your house, that realtor is still required to present the offer, even though they know you're not going to accept it. So I present the offer, but I will not advise my client to accept an offer that I don't think is going to give them enough money to do the repairs.
Ellie, I've told so many friends about what happened when I had a claim and the problems I was having, and then I hired a public adjuster. And when I told them what they offered versus what the public adjuster got, I got to tell you, from everything I've learned, is that's the norm for a public adjuster. That the insurance always offer, they lowball you like crazy, thinking you don't know, you're inexperienced. But when there's a public adjuster involved, they know they have to dot those I's and cross those T's. What we know that in Dallas, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, they have a lot of tornadoes down there.
Hail as well.
We know in the Houston area that we have hurricanes, and it's so important. And we're running Ellie's phone number right now. We're going to give it to you again because you got to write this down. You never know when there's going to be a damage to your house. Correct?
Yeah, you never know. Storm weather is unpredictable. Nowadays, we have meteorologists. Obviously, there's a storm currently brewing that could affect either Houston, Texas, or Florida. I'm licensed in both states. As a matter of fact, we do a show for both states.
Exactly.
And I'm very fortunate to be on such a great platform that reaches so many people. And I take a lot of pride in what I do. I tell people I'm in the business of helping people. There's no pressure, to sign my contract. If people want to have representation that's going to make sure that the insurance company is going to be honest, and trust me, I have a lot of job security in trying to keep the insurance carriers honest. They are not gratuitous by any stretch of the imagination. It goes back to that same delay, deny, defend. That's their business model. So I fight fire with fire. I try to get them to open up coverage, maximize that coverage, and expedite the processing of that coverage. My interests are in alignment with my clients. I want them to get paid as much as possible and as quickly as possible. There's no attorney's fee provision where I get paid, my hours or my fees separate and apart from the indemnity amount, or I'm not charging 40%. It's a 10% agreement. It's very straightforward. It's simple. It's clean. We write a high number that's justifiably high to write the worst case scenario estimate. Let's say your kitchen cabinets had water damage from a kitchen sink leak, and they have to be, the insurance company writes an estimate that says they have to be detached and reset. We call it D&R in the industry. Well, I write an estimate that's R&R, that's remove and replace. And they'll say, Mr. Haft, why do you have R&R? We have D&R. I say, well, you find me a contractor that's going to guarantee that in the process of detaching and resetting those cabinets, that the cabinets aren't going to get damaged, that the flooring isn't going to get damaged, the baseboards or the toe kick doesn't get damaged. So in the event that that happens, I would be remiss to leave those items out of my client's estimate, because I have to write the worst case scenario in good faith and conscience. That is my job and my role and my responsibility to make sure that my homeowner is not left holding the bag and that the insurance company gets off on the cheap.
Ellie, I got to tell you, this easily could be an hour show. I've got 15 more questions, but we are at the end of the show. Give people how they can reach you.
Thanks for asking. So you can reach me directly online at infinitypublicadjusting.com. You can schedule your free consultation that I alluded to earlier directly there. It accesses my calendar. You can pick a date and time that works for you. Also, the phone number that's rolling on the bottom of the screen, 305-447-8822. Again, that's 305-447-8822. I also have a Houston office, and that phone number is 832-698-6031. Again, that's 832-698-6031. You can email me directly your insurance policy. It's just the first letter of my first name, E, then my last name, Haft. So that's E Haft, H-A-F as in Frank, T as in Tom, at infinitypublicadjusting.com.
Ellie, thank you so much. Ellie's going to have actually 3 shows with us next month. We will be promoting those to let you know when they are. Ellie, thanks so much, bud.
Thank you, Steve. Great speaking with you. Have a great weekend.
Ellie Haft, I'm going to tell you, he's one of the greatest public adjusters. I could have gone on for easy another 30 minutes. We got another show coming up. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.